Hello, everybody. I'm Frank Morano. Well, I am sure by now many of you have seen the headlines. And these are headlines I am happy to see. Well. Andrew Cuomo just lost his fight to block an ethics probe into his $5 million pandemic book deal. And frankly, it's about time. The New York Court of Appeals ruled this week that the state's new ethics commission can move forward with its investigation despite Cuomo's attempts to shut it down. That means he's once again facing scrutiny for profiting off one of the worst crises in modern history, one that he, in many ways, made worse. Here's what happened. Back in 2020, while New Yorkers were suffering through lockdowns and Andrew Cuomo was practicing his Emmy acceptance speech, nursing home deaths were being undercounted and businesses were being destroyed. Cuomo was busy writing a memoir about his so-called leadership. I'm glad that he had the time to do this. In the midst of running the state's COVID response, he had time to write a whole book. I can't even find the time to read a book during times of crisis, especially during COVID. The book, American Crisis: Leadership Lessons from COVID-19 Pandemic. I think I have it around here somewhere. Oh, it's being used as a dartboard. I do have it somewhere, but I don't have it handy. This book netted him a whopping $5.1 million. But here's the kicker. An earlier ethics commission determined that Cuomo improperly used state resources to write it. That's right. Government staffers paid by taxpayers were allegedly working on his book while New York was in chaos. The previous ethics commission ordered him to repay the money, but before they could get anywhere, they were replaced by the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government, or COELIG. How's that for an acronym? Cuomo sued, arguing that the new commission was unconstitutional, and at first he was winning. Two lower courts sided with him, but this week, the highest court in the state reversed those decisions in a tight 4-3 ruling. Follow? That means the investigation into Cuomo's book deal is back on. Of course, Cuomo's camp, and obviously they're getting ready to run for mayor, they're crying foul. His spokesman, Rich Azzopardi, called the ruling disturbing and a political attack. But let's be real. What's actually disturbing is that Cuomo was ever allowed to cash in on his failed pandemic leadership in the first place. Thousands of nursing home residents died because of his disastrous policies. Businesses closed forever. People lost their jobs, their savings, and their sense of security. And yet Cuomo walked away with millions. How is that fair? How is that right? Now, his defenders will say, oh, but he donated some of the money. Sure, he gave $500,000 to the United Way and put $1 million in a trust for his daughters. But that doesn't change the fact that he leveraged a public health catastrophe for personal gain. And let's not forget the timing. This ruling comes just as Cuomo is testing the waters for a potential New York City mayoral run. Think about that. He's angling for a comeback while still under investigation for shady dealings during a crisis. New Yorkers should not let this man anywhere near public office again. Instead of fighting to keep his book deal money, Cuomo should be figuring out how to pay taxpayers back for his failures. He botched the pandemic response, lied about nursing home deaths, and now wants us to believe he's some kind of martyr? Give me a break. This investigation needs to move forward, and if the findings are anything like what we already know, Cuomo should never be allowed to profit from the suffering of New Yorkers again. In my opinion, we deserve better. And it's one of the reasons I'm running for city council. If you want to learn more about my candidacy, what I'm doing, and my ideas, even to help us out with a couple of bucks, you can go to moranoforcouncil.com. That's moranoforcouncil.com. I'll see you on the campaign trail.